This is the Blaze Radio on demand.
In the next 19 seconds, you could sell your home. Okay, it's not going to sell your home, but you're going to take a big step toward getting it sold. Go to realestateagentsitrust.com and find an agent selected by my team, a professional who shares your values and speaks the truth. Sell your home fast and for the most money. Get moving at realestateagentsitrust.com.
The Buck Sexton Show.
We're joined now by the one and only Matt Walsh. He is the host of the Matt Walsh podcast, which you can listen to on theblaze.com. Just go and download it, theblaze.com/radio. He's also, of course, a Blaze contributor, author of the Matt Walsh blog. Matt, hope you had a good Labor Day weekend. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I did. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk. We got two pieces I want to hit on, Matt. Two of your pieces here that I think audience is going to want to be a part of this discussion. One is, and I totally agree with you on this, so I'll just get out there and say it. I've been talking about this before you came on, that Hillary Clinton is a sick woman addicted to power, and it's pitiful to watch. I've been saying that maybe they could come up with a term like a healther or something because of Hillary's health as part of the discussion now, although I don't think that it's off the table. In fact, what's your take on all the discussions about her coughing fits and the the concussion came up in her own testimony to or not testimony, but in her own discussion with the FBI. Seems like that makes it legitimate.
I think it's a totally legitimate conversation. I've always felt that way, especially when you have, doesn't matter what age the person is, but particularly when you have someone who's elderly, and both of these candidates are running for the highest office in the land. You look at the stresses of the job. Just look at Obama and Bush were both physically fit young men when they entered the office, and look at what happened to them after 8 years. And so imagine someone going in, and I know Reagan went in at 70, everyone points to that, but that's more of an outlier, number one. And number two, he was also diagnosed with Alzheimer's like a few years after he left office. So that's not exactly the best example. And so it's already a perfectly appropriate conversation to have. And then as far as, I didn't really write about this or talk about it until, as you mentioned, it came out that Hillary Clinton herself cited her own health and used it as an excuse to get out of paying the price for breaking federal law. So as soon as that happens, and she says, I hurt I had a concussion, I had blood clotting problems, can't remember what happened. As soon as she brings it up, well, now it's definitely on the table. And either she's a complete and total liar, which we know she is a liar, but I don't think she's lying about the health problems. I think they're absolutely true. She brought them up, and so now, and then the coughing fit happens a few days later. Now it's something that I think really needs to be at the forefront of the conversation.
And you get into it in your piece, which is just up on the Blaze today, guys. For those of you who haven't had a chance to see it yet, it's Hillary Clinton's a sick woman addicted to power, and it's pitiful to watch. I often refer to Hillary, and actually both of the Clintons, as having a hole in their souls, and that there's no amount of cash or power that can fill this. You make the point in your piece that she doesn't have to be the next president of the United States. I mean, if she is in fact ill, or if she is in ill health or declining health, it's not incumbent upon her to do this, or else she won't be able to feed her family. But she is, as you put it, addicted to power.
Yeah, that's the word that kept coming back to me. I watched that clip of the coughing fit yesterday, and the word that just came to me was pitiful. It is pitiful. I think conservatives, we despise the Clintons so much for good reason, and so when we think of them, we think of words like corrupt, liar, evil, dangerous. All these words come to mind. They're all true, but the word that to me more than any of those is pitiful, because this is someone who cannot conceive of living in a world that she doesn't control. She can't deal with the idea of just sitting back and living her last few years as a perfectly rich and powerful person, but not as the most powerful. She has to be not just powerful, but she has to be the most powerful person in the world. Imagine living with that need, that addiction, that compulsion. And it's just imagine having that in you, eating you alive. You'll never be happy. And as I talk about at the end of it, I think, what if she actually wins and she becomes president? It's very likely to happen. That to me is almost even more pitiful than the idea of her losing and being forced once and for all to just resign into obscurity. That, she'll finally, just for these last few years on Earth, she'll finally get this thing that she's been craving. And I think she'll find when she's there that it doesn't do anything to fill that hole in the soul you're talking about. And it's still going to be there. and she's still going to have this desire for even more power, which is pathetic on her end, but also that's where it gets really dangerous for the rest of us.
It does feel like any generic, nationally known Republican would easily defeat, given the realities of the email and all the stuff that's come out, would easily defeat Hillary. But it also feels like the other side of it is true as well, which is that I think Joe Biden would probably beat Trump pretty handily. I think any mainstream Democrat would win against Trump. It's sort of a bizarre election in that way.
Yeah, both of these candidates are pulling not only the country but their own parties down, destroying them in their own narcissistic pursuit of I think for Hillary it's power. For Trump, I think it's more of attention and publicity, which are really two different things that they want, which is also interesting. But that's what they're both doing. And I think it's absolutely true that provided in an alternative universe, provided Trump is still the nominee, they could have put anyone against him, the Democrats could have. I mean, almost anyone. They've got a lot of strange characters in that party, but they could have run almost any of them. Even Bernie Sanders, they could have run, take any of the few others that were in the primary, Martin O'Malley, just any of these guys. They could have put him up against Donald Trump, but I think they'd be winning in a landslide right now. It wouldn't even be close. But and Hillary must have known that. At some level, she must have known that to be the case, but her pride just wouldn't let it go. And she could have, if she had passed the baton to one of these others, some younger person, and just resigned, then she could have, she would have been respected for that. She could have basked in the respect that she would have gotten for that, and then she could have just gone off and run her foundation and made money from dictators overseas and everything else, and she could have lived that way. It would have been great for her.
Yeah, she would have loved it, I think. But anyway, she wants to continue on with that. Bill, it seems, may stay on as chairman or whatever of the Clinton Foundation. But I wanted to get also into the Colin Kaepernick situation. I don't know if you've seen, Matt, it just bumped up on my screen today, that now Kaepernick's jersey is the number one selling jersey from the NFL store. You also have this female U.S. soccer player whom I'd never heard of before because I just don't really care that much about U.S. soccer, male or female. She's also kneeling during the night. So clearly people are getting some benefit out of this. And then President Obama weighs in. I want to play the clip of Obama, Matt, and have you react to the president speaking about this. Play it, John.
My understanding, at least, is that he's exercising his constitutional right to make a statement. I think there's a long history of sports figures doing so. I think he cares about some real, legitimate issues that have to be talked about. And if nothing else, what he's done is he's generated more conversation around some topics that need to be talked about.
So much to get into here, Matt. I mean, I think Kaepernick, never mind the fact that he was basically falling out of the NFL anyway, is just a self-indulgent, self-promoting punk. And I think that's what we see from other people now getting in on the act, too. What do you say?
Yeah, and Obama is such a disingenuous huckster. I mean, constitutional right. That's not the conversation we're having, Obama. Nobody said he didn't have the right to do it. Nobody made that argument. And that's what we keep hearing is, he has the right, he has free speech. No one said otherwise. Of course he has the right to sit down if he wants to. The NFL has the right to make rules against it. They haven't, so that means he has the right to do it. That's not the point. The point is that it's stupid. The statement that he's making makes no sense. He's not going about communicating whatever the statement is. He's not going about communicating in the right way. And I agree with you that I think first and foremost, it's insincere. This is he's going to the Michael Sam school of staying in the NFL, which worked for Michael Sam for a few years, and that's make yourself into a political statement, make yourself into a sacred cow, make it so that it'd be really difficult for teams to get rid of you because of the political ramifications, and then maybe you can hang around a little bit longer. Because Kaepernick has, he had one good year. For those who don't follow the NFL, he had one good year, one good half a year, one okay year, and he's been declining ever since. He wasn't going to be on a roster probably this year, at least not starting, and maybe this will be enough to keep him around. And I think that's why he did it, because when you actually listen to him explain, especially originally, he's kind of honed his message ever since. But you listen originally to him explain what he was doing. It didn't even make any sense. It's not like he had some really articulate, fiery, passionate statement to explain why he did it. It was just this kind of rambling, incoherent, nonsensical mess. And so I think it's pretty clear that the real reason is, I'm just looking for attention.
Yeah, it was sort of a plagiarism of Black Lives Matter rhetoric from somebody who had only read the Cliffs Notes or something. I mean, it didn't seem like he even understood the issues beyond them, or I should say understood the movement such as it is beyond the most superficial level. But I also think there's an interesting commentary that comes from the fact that the jerseys are now flying off the shelves as a result of him saying this. There are clearly people for whom any form of this sort of solidarity with Black Lives Matter strikes a chord and is a means of now professional advancement for public figures. I mean, there are a lot of people out there, it seems, who this is to them an act of bravery of some kind.
Yeah, it's a trendy and easy thing for people to jump on board with. So I guess I'm not too surprised by the jersey thing, although it's pretty pathetic. I also think that, disrespecting the flag, disrespecting, not exhibiting patriotism, disrespecting the anthem, these are trendy and easy things also, and that appeals to people, unfortunately, especially younger people, because it's not cool to just stand up and show respect. We don't do that anymore. We don't just show respect. That's not cool. So it's much cooler to make it all about me. And that's the thing. That's what Kaepernick is doing. When you stand for the anthem, it's not about endorsing everything the country has ever done. Obviously, if that were the case, then no conservative would ever stand for the anthem, because Obama's in charge right now. We've been doing a lot of things we disagree with. But we stand because it's about what the country stands for, what it means, and it's also about being in solidarity with our countrymen and just a unified moment that's not all about us. It's a moment. It's a little short, simple moment of unity where it's not about you, where you're not standing out. And Kaepernick can't deal with that. And it appears that a lot of other people, they can't deal with it either. It has to be all about them. And so I think that's really what it's about.
And Matt, I know you're a football fan. Do you think the NFL will take some sort of action here, or is it just too hot for them to handle?
I think it's probably, it's probably too hot. They're pretty slow on taking action on these kind of things. And I think they also know that a lot of their players agree with Kaepernick and they don't want to deal with it. But they could and should come out and say, look, this, as a matter of decorum, at the very least, you're required to stand for the anthem, and if you don't, there's going to be fines. Other sports leagues have done that. I think the NBA has, although don't quote me on it. But you can certainly do that. They should do it. But I think the NFL is run by cowards, and they're more worried about the optics of it. So then I don't think they're going to do it.
And last one for you, Matt. Best new TV show of the last 90 days. Matt Walsh says what?
Oh, man, I wish you had warned me that I could. That's
on the spot, on the hot seat here. There's Stranger Things. There's Narcos season 2. What comes to mind?
Yeah, I'm watching Narcos season 2. I liked Stranger Things. I thought it was a little bit overrated. I wasn't a big fan of the ending, but Narcos season 2 I'm watching right now. I'm like 4 episodes in, and I think it's good entertainment.
All right, fair enough. Well, if you have any more thoughts on that, Matt, we'll bring you back. Talk a little more TV shows. Matt Walsh,
I'll do a whole segment on that if you want to.
Oh, dude, that sounds great. Let's talk about new TV shows, guys. We'll do that. Matt will have you back, and we'll make that happen. Thank you, sir. Matt Walsh is the host of the Matt Walsh podcast. Guys, you should download it. Go to theblaze.com/radio for that. And, of course, read his incredibly popular pieces on theblaze.com. Matt, always a pleasure, sir. Thanks for calling.
Thanks a lot, Buck.
The Buck Sexton Show.
What's up, Team Buck? Have you ever tried a Casper mattress? They are incredible. Casper is an obsessively engineered mattress at an incredibly fair price. It combines springy latex and supportive memory foams to create an award-winning sleep surface with just the right sink and the perfect amount of bounce. Time Magazine named it as one of the best inventions of 2015. You get free shipping and returns to the U.S. and Canada, and you can try it free for 100 nights, risk-free, in your own home. And if you don't love it, they'll pick it up and refund you everything. It's made right here in America. All you have to do is go to Casper.com/Buck. That's www.Casper.com/Buck. You can get $50 towards any mattress purchase by visiting Casper.com/Buck. Terms and conditions apply. This is an incredible mattress at a fantastic